strap me on my car seat right to the kitchen table, which is probably a huge health violation now. Ultimate nightmare situation with us. It's kind of a small miracle that we survived. 2 billion calories, but like it is worth all of it. It's awesome. I love it.
That's awesome. That's an awesome story. Today we're here at the Village Grocer, a local family-owned grocery store right in Markham, Angus Glen and Unionville community. Today we are going to be interviewing the owner of this place, Thomas McDonald. Let's get into it. So today I'm super excited to be interviewing Mr. Thomas McDonald. He's the proud owner of the Village Grocer, which is my favorite place to shop close to my home. And it is situated right between Unionville and Angus Glen. It's a fantastic family-owned grocery store. I'm just very excited to be sitting down with Thomas, and then we can do some interview, and then I'm going to ask him some questions about the store. I'm super excited. So let's start with a simple question. Can you tell us a brief history about the Village Grocer, how it got started? I know it started in 1986.
So my parents started the business, as you said, 1986, which predates me by by 3 years. And my dad had worked pretty much his whole career at Loblaws, so like kind of the corporate side of grocery industry. And he was like the meat buyer. He's a butcher by trade. Like his dad was a butcher, so he knew that and kind of got into the corporate side. My mother was running a catering business with her mother, my grandmother, Doreen, whose name you'll see on a lot of what we do at the store, her spinach dip, her cranberry sauce, Christmas cake. She's kind of the inspiration for a lot of our recipes, which we haven't changed since we opened. So my dad started the business knowing kind of the meat side, and our meat case, our butchery's what we're known really well for. And then in the kitchen was my mother and my grandmother. So their recipes, his know-how of how like the grocery industry works, and that's how they started this business with just four employees in 1986 back on Markham Main Street.
That's amazing. So when did you guys move to this current location?
Time flies. It's been, I believe, 11 years now.
Okay.
So originally, we had the store on Markham Main Street,
right?
Which, if you look at the location now, it's kind of a small miracle that we survived because there's no street parking. It wasn't actually on the main strip. You had to like go around. So I drive by there all the time, and I can't believe they made that work. And then they opened a store in Richmond Hill, right at 16th and Spadina there. And they also had one at Carlton and Kennedy. But you don't really need 3 stores. If you're doing something like what we do, people are going to drive that extra distance. You just need 1 store because it's just make it a destination.
Yeah, for sure.
11 years ago, we opened our location here, and it's incredible.
One of the things that impressed me the most when I walk into the store is the atmosphere. People are super friendly, and when I go to the deli section, I see tons of selections. And you mentioned that a lot of the recipe is actually from your grandmother, Doreen. Can you speak more about that?
All of my earliest childhood memories are kind of being in the kitchen. Like they didn't really have a babysitter when I was younger, so they'd strap me on my car seat right to the kitchen table, which is probably a huge health violation now. But I just kind of remember my grandmother, Doreen, and Greta, who still works here now.
Amazing.
And my dad and my mom just always like trying recipes, and we still have a lot of like the handwritten recipes, funny, that we're cooking off of. Like that's the control sheet. And my grandmother had like the most perfect penmanship, and she was the most, perfectionist would be an understatement. Kind of the way she'd like dimple the creases in like her chicken pot pies and taste everything like over and over. And she just had a deft hand for seasoning, and a lot of like our meat pies, a lot of stuff in our bakery, our chili sauce, cranberry sauce. Everybody knows that's for our spinach dip. They're just kind of all things that she would like cook for her family. And when she started her little catering business that she did out of the basement of her home with my mother, it's just kind of all the recipes from there that she was just an amazing cook.
That's awesome. So if I'm going to ask you if you have to pick one favorite thing from the deli section, what would that be?
Tough question. Probably, it's funny because I was a vegetarian growing up, so.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. There's no real reason. Like my
Yeah.
parents obviously like eat meat, but it's funny to say that all the years later. I'd probably say our ham.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
which we make our own ham and our turkey in house. So like we bring in like the legs of pork and we bone them out and we cure them. And I think ham, when you get it from like another store, it's just kind of like a loaf of protein. Doesn't have like the texture, doesn't have the flavor. It doesn't look like pork, right?
Right.
And yeah, we do 2 different types. We have a maple sugar ham, which we like glaze with maple syrup over and over as we slowly bake it. And then we also have like more traditional smoked ham, like a Black Forest ham. And yeah, I think it just, if you have that, it will change your feelings and thoughts about what a ham could and should be.
I definitely will give that a
Yeah.
try. That's awesome. One of the thing that the Village Grocer is famous for is the bakery section. It's amazing. And
Yes.
the jelly roll is super famous. My personal favorite though is the mango cheesecake. I just cannot get enough of that. Like, how about for yourself? Like, what would be your favorite thing in the bakery section?
I've had the jelly roll like thousands of times, and it still always hits. I still love
Yeah.
it, but I would go with you. The cheesecakes I think are really special.
Nice.
It was the first thing I remember trying was our apple caramel cheesecake, which is near and dear to my heart still. But I would probably say our turtle cheesecake. So it's kind of a pecan crust, so it's gluten-free. Our cheesecake batter that we swirl chocolate ganache, caramel, toasted pecans, and marshmallows into. And we finish it with more ganache. And it's probably like 2 billion calories, but like it is worth all of it. It's awesome. I love it.
My blood sugar level just shot up just listening to you. Okay, so we were talking, and then you mentioned that you're very hands-on. How does your day look like in a regular day like this?
Well, when you run a small business, there's no such thing as a regular day. Nothing ever goes to plan, which is kind of the fun of it. No 2 days look alike, but most of my days do start the same. I go to the produce terminal, so I'm the produce manager at the store, amongst other hats that I wear. But
How early do you have to go?
usually, like I'm up at like 2:30 or 3, and
That's
just go
insane.
down there. It's in Lakeshore, Etobicoke, and it's very cool. It's a cool spot. It's where most of the fruits and vegetables for the entire country come through. So you don't really realize it's something you don't think about if you're just like a regular shopper at a grocery store. But how lucky we are to live in Toronto to have that close to us. It's the 3rd biggest facility of that size in all of North America. And yeah, you're getting fresh vegetables, like over half fruits and vegetables for the entire country go through there. So the truck that parks beside us is going all the way to Nova Scotia. So we're getting stuff like 3 or 4 days before it's on a shelf there, right?
Right.
And yeah, you get it at a better price. You get like unparalleled freshness. So the reason I get up so early to go there is like I want first pick on it. The early bird gets the worm. You're gonna get fresher stuff. Yeah, I think it sets the tone. Having like the fresh fruits and vegetables, it just sets the tone for everything else we do in the store.
Right. That's really great. When I walk through the store, I see tons of different selections. I don't expect a family-owned business to have such a wide selection, and you have a lot of unique items as well. How do you go out and find those unique items, and what's your process you go through to find the right things for the store?
I mean, there's a good mix of us going out and finding stuff that we love.
Yeah.
And there's also small purveyors and producers coming and finding us.
I see.
Right? So to get like listed, I think the main goal is to just be completely different from your regular supermarket experience.
Yeah, for
Right?
sure.
Like if you're competing with a store like head on, like a giant store like head on, like a small guy like us, like we can't compete on buying power. And yeah, they're just kind of the way they do business is totally different. So we're trying to find like small producers locally a lot of the time, like people who are doing kind of artisanal stuff. And we want to work with them, and they want to be in a store like ours, right? Then there's also stuff like the Blackbird bread that we bring in, which is like baked downtown. The sourdough that is like, I swear to God, it's addictive. It's my favorite thing on earth. That's just something, the first time I ate that, I knew that no matter what, I don't care like how far it is, I need to have that in our store for our customers to have. Like I know that they'll love that.
Yeah.
If it tastes good, we've got to have it.
So it's great to hear that passion from you. Obviously, you care a lot about the store, care a lot about the products that you carry. Like as you just said, like when you tasted it, you said that have to get your customer to try it as well, and that's fantastic. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Can you tell us about this beautiful space as well? Because like I've been coming to this store for years.
Yes.
I never knew there's such a beautiful studio upstairs. And then can you speak to it? Like can we book this place? And
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to look a lot different.
Okay.
So I was just telling Nigel before, because yeah, he was kind of in awe. We have like a nice cooking studio up here. It's like a test kitchen. So there's like a big kind of island here with like a stovetop that we cook off of. There's all sorts of seating so we can have corporate events. We've had a lot of like bridal showers. My cousin had kind of his wedding shower here, baby showers we've done here. And before the pandemic, we were doing lots of like wine tasting, beer tastings, and we do like all like the food pairing with the food that we make here in the store. So we're in the process of renovating it because we want like a bigger kitchen and be able to do like just bigger events. So next time you're here, it's going to look a lot different. But yeah, it's an awesome spot.
That's amazing. I didn't even know you have like wine tasting, like wine pairing events. How can I keep up to date on events like that?
Definitely try to check our website.
Is it like private? Like are these like private events or
No. We want to do a lot of stuff and just kind of our newsletter, which I write, which is also a big part of my week.
Okay.
It's not a traditional grocery store flyer. I spend hours and hours just kind of writing about stories, recipes.
Awesome.
What you should be buying as like what's special that we have that week. If you're not tuned into that already, check out our website and get on the mailing list for that. But other than that, yeah. Our website, our Instagram, the girl who does our like social media does the most fantastic job, and yeah, we'll let you know. That's our job.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. What's next for the Village Grocer?
Right now, we bought a facility around Markham and Steeles. When we first moved to this store 11 years ago, I remember just walking around the basement and thinking like, oh my God, this is way too big. Like we have too much storage. Like we had like a little, what felt like a mom and pop shop before. And like I'm looking and like, this is just kind of, have we bit off more than we can chew? And within probably about 6 months, we already were at capacity for our production.
Right.
All the storage was like full. So it was a little overdue. So we've kind of built like an off-site kitchen where we can really focus like state-of-the-art ovens. So like stuff like our pies, we can really focus on, and we're going to be wholesaling them. Our cookies have gone there. We want to do have a purely vegetarian kitchen there. I think one thing, our chef does like really amazing offerings, like our prepared foods, but I think we're a little behind the times on our vegetarian offerings and our gluten-free offerings. So we're going to be focused on that over there, and you'll see that in our store in the coming months, a bigger presence of that. And yeah, other than that, just kind of like a lot of people dream of having 3 or 4 stores, but I don't think you'll ever see like another Village, or at least not this size. Because as I was saying before, there was a time when we had 3 stores, but you just want to focus, just do one thing and do it really, really well. And people will come here. You want to be a destination, and you really want that attention to detail. So we're going to keep on expanding our offerings here and trying to be the best we can be, but yeah.
So obviously the Village Grocer is really a staple in the Unionville and Angus Glen community. And I know you guys are very involved in different community events and stuff like that. Can you speak about that? Like what kind of things that you guys do to get yourself more involved with the community, stuff like that?
Well, we generally say yes to everything.
Like today, right?
Yeah, yeah. We don't say no too often. That's just kind of a philosophy I got from my dad for like sponsorship and everything. I think one of the main things we do is we work with Markham Stouffville Hospital. The best way to give back to your community is through like the health of your community. And there's been a lot of mental health issues that I've had personally in my family, and you just kind of see every day. And I think that's underfunded. So we've worked really closely with the hospital on that. And we have like a big event every year. The week leading up to Thanksgiving, we call Giving Thank. Donate like a huge portion of our sales to the hospital. And that's out of everything we do at the store, that's one of the things I'm most proud of. And kind of that contribution to the hospital is something that we only want to increase every year. It means the world to us.
That's awesome. That's a really great cause, and to give back to the community. I think that's fantastic. Looking back, right, through the years that you've been with this awesome grocery stores, Is there any story that stands out you want to talk about, or maybe a very proud moment, something very memorable about your experience with the Village Grocer?
Yeah, okay. Well, I think I alluded to it before. I was talking about kind of the fact that I was a vegetarian. And I probably, when I went off to that, and like it wasn't just as a child, it was all the way until I was about 18 or 19. And there was really no good reason for it.
Yeah.
I just grew up and it was just a thing. My parents just never fed me meat. I was really picky, didn't really eat vegetables either. And it was only about when I turned 19, I went on like my first date with a girl, and I just took her to like a fancy steakhouse, just thinking like, oh, I'm going to impress her. But then I'm looking at like the menu and like, oh my God, there's just like steak and seafood here. There's like nothing I possibly eat, and like nobody wants to be with a guy who just orders an entree salad. So I just ordered like a whole roast chicken, and I ate it and I instantly loved it. And it was kind of a come to Jesus moment for me, because then within like 2 weeks, I just kind of, all this stuff like that I'd been surrounded at the store forever. Like all the stuff in our meat case, all of our prepared foods. I was just like, wow, like if I enjoyed that so much, what have I been missing out here? Mm-hmm. So food to me is still kind of like new and exciting, and I'm just discovering every day. I'm trying to become like, I do a lot of cooking for like the cafe, where we have like our little in-house like restaurant where we have like a lunch service. Yeah. So I do a lot of the cooking for that. And it kind of, I don't know if I'd be as passionate about food if I didn't have like that weird relationship when I was younger. I'm not sure if that's the story you were like looking for.
It's a great story.
But yeah.
It's funny you mentioned about the cafe and the sandwiches. My family loves the sandwich.
Yes.
The chicken bacon sandwich is our favorite.
Yes.
Well, my kids. My wife prefers the vegetarian option as well.
Yeah.
She thinks it's the best vegetarian sandwich anywhere. She actually asked me to buy the sandwiches back.
Nice. Well, I appreciate that.
What's your proudest moment, like throughout the years?
Proudest moment.
Biggest achievement.
Kind of my proudest moment, and there's lots of them. I look back on, there was one year, our busiest day of the year is always December 23rd, and it was the year of the ice storm. And so December 22nd, that happened on the night of December 21st. So December 22nd, we had power all day, even though it was like a winter apocalypse outside. On literally the second we locked the doors on the 22nd, the power was out. Mm-hmm. And I was out for like pretty much 24 hours. So we missed our busiest day of the year, and it was just like the worst feeling because people depend on us. Like there's lots of people who have moved from Unionville and Markham, but they'll still come back to our store for the holidays. Like you'll see them like just Thanksgiving, Christmas. They come all the way from like Niagara or London or like up north, and they'll come back for the holidays. And you're just kind of looking at all these orders that you have for people are counting on you, and just like we don't even have like a cash register or anything like that. Like we can't literally, our fridges like are just, we got to keep them closed just to like, keep temperature. So the power came on right about say like 6:30 in the evening of the 23rd, and our staff all came together, like worked overnight. Like a lot of people work like a 24-hour shift. That kind of response from your staff was just kind of an amazing thing, because I was still younger then too. Right, so I wasn't in the position, I wasn't like management like I am now, but just kind of seeing how hard the people work here. It was like a very proud moment for me. And then also in terms of our customers, like we didn't have the telephone line wasn't up, so you couldn't put through like debit or credit payments. So we did like a lot of IOUs with our customers, which is like an insane thing to do, right? Like it's not everybody like carries that much cash, and we got every single penny that we just kind of let people walk out the door, we got it back. Like there wasn't even one transaction. So it speaks to the integrity of our customers and the fact that they'd kind of work through like what was like the ultimate nightmare situation with us. I just like, look, there's a lot of facets of like that day of business that really kind of I find inspiring. As I said, like our customers and our staff, and it kind of like exemplifies what's so special about our store.
That's awesome. That's an awesome story. Thomas, I really want to thank you for your time today. You take time out of your busy schedule to speak with me, and I can speak to the quality of the food in this store. And now you hear about the story behind it, the passion behind this awesome the Village Grocer, and I will leave the information of the store in the description. Please come and visit this store. You won't be disappointed.
Thank you.
Thank you, Thomas.
No, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah.